Today I want to talk about how ADHD is an invisible disability. And when I say an invisible disability, I'm comparing that to somebody who is, say, in a wheelchair. If you cross paths with someone in a wheelchair, you immediately can assume that they cannot walk. Now, the degree to that is going to vary, of course, from person to person. But with ADHD, if you're standing on a street corner, if you are in a public place, a mall, a park, downtown, and you are watching people go by, you will have no idea who has ADHD and who does not have ADHD, unless maybe someone is acting really impulsive or hyper, and then you can assume, oh, I wonder if they have ADHD. Then I'm going to offer 5 tips that you can use right now, today, to advocate for yourself as an ADHDer. For anyone who doesn't know me, hello, my name is Sara Kelly. I'm an ADHD mindset coach, and I come out with videos every single week on ADHD and the isms that go along with having ADHD. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so and turn on the notifications so that you never miss a video from me. Having ADHD is not just about fidgeting, not being on time, being impulsive, or being that daydreamer. It is so much more. It is a neurological condition that affects millions of people across the world with their executive functions and their dopamine production. Executive functions are responsible for things like coordination of tasks, being able to organize things in one mind, impulsivity, working memory, and emotional regulation, just to name a few. I think for me, the really tough thing about having ADHD, and please feel free to chime in the comments, is that as a first impression, I present very well. I don't look like I have a neurological condition. I don't look like I might struggle in certain areas of my life. Never understood why I would be initially received so well, because I look very neurotypical, but yet when people got to know me, it didn't always work out the way that I hoped it would, and it really did affect my self-esteem. After learning that I had ADHD 3 years ago, I took a deep dive into understanding what ADHD was and the isms of ADHD that really resonated with me. And that was the first step to breaking the stigma of me having ADHD, was understanding my own neurotype a little bit better, because I could relate that back to real life experiences where I was like, this is my ADHD. Understanding my brain helped me come up with systems and also ways to advocate for myself as an ADHDer. As a woman who is late diagnosed with ADHD, I'm really under this umbrella of this invisible entire population of ADHDers. I was born with ADHD, so I had a lifetime of growing up, learning how to mask before I even knew what masking was, because if I showed up authentically as myself, I was told I needed to be less. And that really damaged my psyche. Part of the reason that I became a mindset coach for women with ADHD was a way of advocating for myself, a way of learning how to accept myself and to show up authentically and unapologetically, so that I did not have to mask and I did not have to keep down everything that made me me. So without further ado, let's get into 5 tips that can help you as an ADHDer if you resonate with anything that I am sharing so far. Tip number 1 is to educate yourself and others on what ADHD is. The first step in advocating for yourself is becoming knowledgeable about what ADHD is. And what you can do to do that is to go and look for reputable sources. Attitude Magazine is great. Chad is also great. And Psychology Today has a ton of helpful articles all about ADHD and even how it manifests in adults or women in general. And I just want to throw in one quick little disclaimer as you are doing research. Although there are many amazing content creators on platforms like TikTok, if someone is not a mental health professional, please take what they say with a grain of salt. There's a ton of misinformation on the internet, and if you want to learn about ADHD from reputable sources, TikTok may not always be your best first stop. And I'm actually on TikTok, and I am still suggesting that you look up articles that are either peer-reviewed or on supported websites for ADHD. Research reputable sources, consult with professionals, and learn about the latest treatments and strategies. Use this knowledge to educate those around you, including friends, family, educators, and employers. My disclaimer with employers is if you do not feel safe sharing with your employer that you have ADHD, that is something that you need to consider. Tip number 2 is to build a support network. Who around you can be your tribe, who is going to validate your experience as an ADHDer? Sometimes friends and family don't understand ADHD, nor do they want to understand ADHD. If that is true for you, I happen to have a Facebook community for women late diagnosed with ADHD, and I'll put a link to that in the description to join that Facebook group. There's also a ton of other really supportive Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups where you can join a community of like-minded people who are journeying just like you are, just like I am, and trying to navigate our way through having ADHD. Tip number 3 is to communicate your needs clearly. This is so important. Effective communication is key when you are advocating for yourself. Clearly express your needs, challenges, and strengths when advocating for yourself to others. Whether it's requesting accommodations at school or work, discussing medication options with your healthcare provider, or seeking adjustments in your daily routines, assertive and open communication helps ensure that your voice is heard. And when you're communicating your needs to friends or loved ones, using I statements is way less combative than you statements. For instance, saying I need X, Y, and Z is way less combative than saying you are not providing me with X, Y, and Z. Tip number 4 is to develop self-advocacy skills. To effectively advocate for yourself, it is crucial to develop self-advocacy skills. Understand your rights, learn about relevant laws and policies, and familiarize yourself with the accommodations available in educational and workplace settings. Tip number 5 is the most important, and that's to practice self-compassion and self-care. A lot of times, those of us with ADHD forget to do things with regards to our self-care, such as eating, sleeping well, drinking enough water, even personal hygiene at times. Taking care of yourself so that you can feel good in your own skin will produce dopamine and give you that sense of accomplishment that so many of us are yearning for. Let's be real, living with ADHD is really, really tough, and it's so important to prioritize yourself in the process. Practicing self-compassion by acknowledging your strengths. So many of us as ADHDers are really, really hard on ourselves. The whole name, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, deficit is in there. And I think that with ADHD, our rigid thinking, our trauma from being too much or not enough or lazy or unmotivated to all of the other people who don't understand the experience of this invisible disability makes it so that we don't value ourselves enough. And instead of looking for what we offer the world, our creativity, our out-of-the-box thinking, our high empathy, we instead fall on where we're coming up short. There's a video all about lucky girl syndrome and how to start focusing on things more positively in an organic way, linked to this video. What we focus on expands. So really taking that deep dive into what you're focusing on and remembering to celebrate the wins can be huge to move the needle in the right direction when it comes to having ADHD, living with it, and being comfortable in our skin. Additionally, incorporating self-care practices into your daily routine. Engage in activities that bring you joy, reduce stress, and promote overall well-being. This may include exercise, mindfulness techniques, pursuing hobbies, or seeking professional support when needed. In closing this video, remember that self-advocacy starts with you. That includes valuing and caring for yourself. If you're an ADHDer and you struggle with low self-esteem, low self-worth, and you are so sick of the mindfulness industry telling you to just feel better and be happy, and that just seems too impossible to reach, I have a complimentary masterclass linked below this video that goes over the 5 pillars to creating lasting change, built for ADHDers by an ADHDer. The link for that masterclass is linked below. All you need to do is put in your first name and your email, and I will send that masterclass right over to you. I hope you got a couple of takeaways from this video. Again, if you haven't already, please like this channel and turn on your notifications and like and comment on this video so that it gets pushed out to more ADHDers who might need to hear this message today. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you in the next video.